Get ready, Staten Island.
The Ferry Hawks are back at SIUH Community Park July 7th to the 12th for a 6-game series against the High Point Rockers. Tonight, first pitch is at 6:30. It's Thirsty Thursday with $5 Bud and Bud Light drafts. Friday, July 10th, first pitch is at 7 p.m. May the Force be with you on Star Wars Night with post-game kids glow around the bases with special lightsaber training packs.
Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
Honey, what are you listening to?
Mom!
Your teen might not share everything with you, but teens share everything with each other. And certain everyday behaviors, like sharing food, drinks, or kisses, could mean sharing bacteria that can cause meningococcal disease, known as meningitis. Although meningitis is uncommon, about 1 in 10 who develop it will die. Ask your teen's doctor about missing meningitis vaccinations. Learn more at meningitis.com. Vaccination may not protect all recipients. Sponsored by GSK.
Katz and Cosby, entertaining and informative
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Now let's go to the State Department. We have Tommy Pigott, who is the spokesperson with the State Department. And boy, oh boy, Marco Rubio has been very busy of late. One of the things, let's get to Tommy this today. He just put out a statement about this guy from Laos, an illegal immigrant, and Tim Walz had given him clemency, him and his pardon board. And this is a horrible person.
It really is. Someone who was convicted of heinous crimes, a child rapist, convicted of those heinous crimes, and yet Tim Walz, shielding him from deportation, gave him a pardon. It's inexplicable. But then Secretary of State Marco Rubio stepping in, revoking that legal status, and then our colleagues at DHS and ICE moving quickly to remove this individual from the country so he will never be able to threaten another American ever again. It just shows the difference, I think, in how this administration is approaching this and making sure that, as we always do, we are siding with the American people each and every time.
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't be a more stark. And this guy, it was a repeated abuse. The girl was as young as 10. And then when he was asked about it, he said, oh, it's a minor issue. He confessed to it. He said it's a minor issue.
The more you hear about this case, the more you realize this is someone that should never have been in our country, needed to be deported, be held accountable for his crimes, and yet Tim Walz issuing that pardon. It really, like I said, is inexplicable. But the Trump administration, again, saying we are not going to allow foreign nationals that commit crimes to be in our country and threaten the American people. We're not going to allow it. We're going to take concrete action to protect the American people. We're under no obligation to state the obvious, to allow someone convicted of heinous crimes to roam free in our streets, and yet Tim Walz wanted to give him a pardon.
Yeah, it's shocking. Judge Richard Weinberg.
Tommy, good to talk to you again. So the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, is now going to a conference about Antifa and the spread of Antifa worldwide. Would you explain what that's about and why that's such a big threat to America and the Western civilization?
Yeah, so we're hosting a really historic ministerial at the State Department addressing this threat. The threat itself is not new. It's something that's has existed for many decades, but it's something that for many decades was not properly addressed. No more under the Trump administration. We are addressing this issue. So we're inviting representatives from countries all around the world, including Europe, Asia, the Western Hemisphere, to address this threat. And what we're talking about are groups that engage in terrorist activity. And that's really important to stress. These are groups that are violent, engaging in terrorist activity such as kidnappings, such as threatening U.S. officials, such as targeting the civilian population. So this is something we're seeing these groups around the world. And the transnational nature of these Antifa-linked groups is what's so important to address. They operate often across borders. So it's important that we work with our foreign counterparts, with law enforcement, to make sure that we have communication, information sharing, can identify these groups. And then from the State Department's perspective, we have taken action, including designating several of these groups as terrorist organizations that allows us to go after those that are providing material support for these groups. So it really is a major approach to make sure we're addressing this gap that's existed in our counterterrorism strategy.
Yeah, I have a question, Tommy. What foreign countries are most engaged with sort of sponsoring Antifa? Like, where is most of the money coming from?
Well, that's part of why ministerials like this are so important, to make sure we have the law enforcement tools and the communication necessary to identify these groups. The way that funding comes from, it's a variety of sources, but that's why we're having law enforcement professionals and other professionals joining us in this work as well to make sure that we're fully understanding how these groups are financed. And that's why that designation I mentioned is so important too, because it lets us go after those that are providing that material support for these groups. So we're making sure that we first understand this threat landscape that we see reasserting itself right now, but then also are taking action with our foreign counterparts to protect the American people and also our allies and partners.
Great.
And remember the key thing about the Biden administration is that there's no such thing as an organization called Antifa.
Right.
It was merely an idea.
Yeah, I mean, and that goes to the fact that this threat was growing and growing and growing, and the previous administration did absolutely nothing to address this threat. So we are making sure that we address this threat. And these are groups that are already engaging in violent activity. We see it with our own eyes, and we're no longer turning a blind eye. From the moment that President Trump took office, this is something that he's has been addressing. We continue to address it, and we're going to take further actions on this.
Absolutely. Well, Tommy, thank you very much. By the way, it was great seeing you when you came to New York a couple weeks ago, too. It was
that was great. It was awesome to stop by. Thank you for hosting me there.
It was great.
Thank you, Tommy.
Anyone can sell electronics. At Electronics Expo, they do more than sell products. They design, install, and support complete technology solutions. From home theaters and whole home audio to lighting, shades, automation, networking, security cameras, and premium entertainment systems. For over 22 years, they've helped thousands of homeowners experience technology at its very best. See the difference for yourself. Visit their Wayne or Paramus stores in New Jersey or shop now at electronicsexpo.com.